You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Saturday the 22nd of March 2025. And you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. We are 2 hours and 47 minutes into a live stream in which I did what I was hoping I would do. So I can proudly say I have signed off the fifth draft of Still Life. So I read through the 5 remaining chapters last night, made any minor corrections I wanted to make out, and then this morning I printed them all off. I have them in my hands. Not that this podcast is a visual medium, so you can't see that, but I have them in my hand. And I'd kind of decided that, given that once I've been reading for a long time, I start to struggle to read out loud. I stumble over the words a little bit. I kind of decided it'd be better to do this in 2 sessions, but I didn't. I read the first 3 chapters, then I had like a 5-minute break, and then edited the final 2. The journeys for all the characters are, well, they're not complete, but they're as complete as they need to be for this iteration of the story. I believe 2 of the people listening have actually read the 4th draft, and the 5th draft was basically a tidy up. So very little changed in the latter half of the book. The first half I changed it so that Molly and Alfie, instead of having got engaged in secret, had actually got married in secret, because that's what happened in those days. Because had he died, which ultimately he did in the war, she would have received a widow's pension. So that felt more realistic. I have a friend who knows that period quite well. The second big bit of feedback I got, there were lots of little things like drop in hints about Rebecca liking guys before, but actually the more I read it, the more I realised I had done that, so I added an extra one. There was a couple of moments where early on, when Sayward and Rebecca were learning about Sayward's abilities and the Sutherland Institute, where perhaps they accepted stuff too quickly, so I made their reactions to the revelations a little more cynical. And there was just lots of little bits. That actually, a major one was that Dawn Vickery had gone to rescue Sir Teddy, or to rescue someone from a painting in Sosie's house, and hadn't even bought a method of transport for them escaping in, which was ludicrous. So the feedback I got was, wouldn't Dawn have had a scooter or something? And that set me thinking, well, no, actually, if she was physically trying to get a temporal refugee out of a painting and then away, she'd have a car. So there's a car with slashed tyres being added to that chapter to explain why she can't get Sir Teddy away. But most of the, to somebody who's read the 4th draft, I don't think there's anything significant, massively significant, in the 5th draft. It's just a bit of a tidy. There's the odd clunky bit of writing removed, and to be honest, every time you read it I'd probably change something, but I'm not George Lucas and you have to draw a line under things somewhere. So my plan now, I'm not going to do it as part of my live stream, but my plan now is to knit the chapters back together to make one document, to format it in a way that I can then get it sent to me as a physical book, printed through Kindle Direct Publishing, because they will do physical books, and get this sent to me so I can just read it, make sure there's nothing glaringly obvious. But basically I want to read it all in one, well, not all in one go, but quickly, just to make sure that it stands up as a piece of entertainment. It is heavier than I remember it being, actually. There's themes, desperate themes of loss. There was Sayward strongly considering suicide at the end, which seems to be a theme in my stories. There is, I think, yes, well, we won't talk about that. As someone who has suffered from mental health issues in the past, I kind of understand people's mental thought process that might get them to the point where they would do something that desperate. I'm not saying I've been that unwell, but I've got quite close, and I kind of understand why people have strange thoughts like that. But no, I'm very proud of the story. I'm very proud of the characters. And yeah, so I'm going to take a few days off now. I'm not working tomorrow. Then on Monday, in theory, I'm working on a flight to Hyderabad in India. However, anybody who has watched the news will understand that Heathrow and all the airlines that operate out of it are in absolute turmoil as a result of the fact that the airport was closed down yesterday because of a fire at a substation that basically meant there wasn't enough power at the airport. So in theory, I'm flying to Hyderabad on Monday, but anything could happen. But I'm not going to document all of that. I need a few days off. So in fact, that trip is due to go on Monday and I'm due to be back on Wednesday. So I plan to have a little podcasting break now until Thursday the 27th, which is my next day off after the working block. So yes, I'm going to take 4 days off. There will be no podcast for 4 days and I'll be back on Thursday the 27th. And I actually plan to write one of my short stories. I've got 3 days off then. I've got a 4,000 to 5,000 word short story to write. That's something I can easily write in 3 days. And actually, I've got to the end of the month anyway. So even if I don't get it done in those 3 days, I'd kind of like to give myself till the end of the month to do it. So again, thank you very much to everybody who listens to this nonsense. I know there's not loads, but it is growing slowly. There's weirdly more people watch it on YouTube, which is harder to track. So I get stats on about Instagram and Apple Music, but a lot more people seem to watch it on YouTube, which I always forget to mention when I'm selling it. But anyway, I will shut up now. I'll go away. I'll be back on Thursday. Thank you for supporting me and thank you for listening. Bye bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.